Shit.
I did it, Tony. I hit the drum solo. We're back here on the MJT Football Podcast for our picks. Week 1 is here. The excitement is high. I'm trying to just pretend like that didn't happen last night, guys. None of that happened. We didn't see it. Whatever. Tony, how are you doing? Are you excited that football has kicked off, even though the Chiefs are 1-0? I will say Mahomes is leading the NFL in interceptions right now.
Yeah, he is. I am so jacked that football is back. Like, that was an absolute treat of an opening night game, right? Where it's like, it's going back and forth. We're getting to see the best players be great on open. Like, Chris Jones, super impressive. I know we're going to get into that. But when you get a chance to see, like, they're entertainers, and they brought it last night, I definitely felt like we were cheated out of overtime or like a 2-point conversion victory. But other than that, like, I'm excited. I'm ordering Peacock, getting that back again because, yeah. So I can't wait. We got tickets for SoFi on Sunday. Woo! Can't wait.
We'll be there. Joe, did you get this pick right, by the way? Did you make your pick on this?
No.
Got it wrong.
Yeah, I was not taking Kansas City in the first week.
Same. I got it wrong too.
I could take one loss on the season, but yeah, I did get this one wrong. But like Tony said, like, it was a good game, and that last moment, that fucking one big ass toe away from. But that's what I want to talk about. Like, it looked like Harbaugh was putting up the 2, right? Like, he was like, "We're gonna go out there and win this." So I don't know if the Ravens would have got the 2-point, and I don't know if that was a smart decision to go for 2, but if you already think that you were going to lose the game and now you just got that lucky catch at the end to win it, I mean, go for the 2. You got a 50-50 chance of doing it.
It would have been a smart decision if you don't call some weird, like, screenplay where you throw the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage to Zay Flowers when you have Derrick Henry and Lamar frickin' Jackson on, 2 yards to go here for the 2-point conversion. But I think they definitely were going for 2. I don't know if you guys remember, 2-point conversion, was it? Or was it a 4th and goal with Tyler Huntley where Harbaugh kind of pushed the chips on the table a couple years ago against the Bengals, and it didn't really work out. But he's been ballsy in the past. He's always been the guy in that position. He goes for 2 without hesitation. He believes in his guys.
He did that multiple times a couple of years ago, where in the past, at least the past couple of years, he's done it multiple times where he's gone for the victory in that situation.
Yeah. So it probably would have been the same, especially against the reigning defending champions, but it didn't happen. We're going to go over our picks for every other game this weekend, including today's game. The Packers and the Eagles are kicking off in about 4 or 5 hours from when we're recording this. But first, just one reminder, everybody, to like the stream. It helps out a ton on this channel. Helps the channel go out to more NFL fans. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. And if you want to join this Pick'ems challenge, it is a challenge. I'm challenging all of you to join. There's about 60 people, I think, in the free Pick'ems challenge right now. So 1 in 60 chance of winning a jersey. There's 150 people in the paid one. 1 in 150 chance of winning thousands of potential dollars if this thing fills up. Link is in the description to that. And then we are also going to be revealing some t-shirts today. Tony, should we preview this?
Yeah, let's do the preview. I can throw, because are we going to talk more about the Chiefs-Ravens game at all? The only other things I wanted to say in this game was
we could talk about it more. We can talk about it more right after this, because we'll bring up is the Flock Jackson shirt in here? The Flock Jackson shirt in here?
Yes, it is.
Heck yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it right after. But let's preview the shirts real quick. Leave them cliffhanged a little bit for our picks.
We're good?
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. Give them the rundown.
Awesome. Fifth Down .shop. We're starting a clothing line we're very excited about. We are doing retro graphic tees where we're taking maybe nicknames of the players or moments, like big moments in their career, combining it, trying to make some creative game day wear that you can go out, you can fan out extra, you can take your game day fits to the next level with some of these designs. You can go there, and right now we're giving an extra 10% off if you join the fam, the 5D fam. That is 5D fam, all caps. It looks like. So we don't have all the teams yet, but we are working hard. We are going to reach out to some of these other fan bases and see that they haven't had their player created yet. And some of the teams that we have players created for, we're already in works and getting the other ones. But as you can see here in the bottom right corner, you can screenshot this right now. If you're a Ravens fan, click on that little thing, the little QR code, go there. And by next Sunday, you could be rocking this. We also, as much as I don't want this on the screen right now,
No.
We captured the Patrick Mahomes Reaper moment. I think this is a really fun shirt, Patrick Mahomes as the Reaper there. There's other styles, hoodies, tank tops, hats of all the fun characters that we created at 5D. How'd I do, Mike? Was that what you
did amazing. You did for just throwing you on the spot too. That was pretty beautiful. But that's what's beautiful about this brand that we're creating, guys. And something that I really like about it is I'm a guy that's a fan of the entire NFL. You guys know me as NFLMike. I'm not just a fan of just the Chargers, especially Joe and Tony know. Like when I stand to my players, I stand for my players, and I'm going to go hard for them. So it's cool to have kind of an outlet to even support some of the other players without going all in on the team. Like even this Mahomes shirt, which I would never, ever wear, not even for an ad. I might consider holding it. I might consider having it around me in my house. That is about as far as I will go with this shirt. But if you are Jay Bolted, who is a giant Mahomes fan, if you guys know Jay Bolted, you could get this shirt, and he's not actually wearing a Chiefs jersey for copyright reasons. He's just the Reaper.
Right.
So same thing with some of the other ones.
I'm right now.
What's up?
You have Chiefs gear on right now.
Oh, busted. You got me, which is a good transition
player.
Back into the game, guys. Check out fifthdown.shop on our social media platforms. Check out the website. We have a bunch of teams already on there. I think at least 16 teams, Tony, half the league, something like that.
We're about halfway through the league. Some of them, obviously, Chargers and Raiders. We have 2 designs for each of those teams, 2 designs for the Dolphins. But, we're 14, 15 teams in.
And more are coming. Just go check those out for us, y'all, and then hit up any of us. Most likely me. I'll be the most responsive. Maybe Joe, too. I don't know if Joe checks his DMs as much as I do, but I highly doubt that his DMs are very pretty, just based off of the 49ers content that he makes. Let us know if you guys have any specific players you want on these as well. We can customize these. We can make them how we want them, and that's what's going to be fun about it. So please hit us up on that. Check out fitdown.shop. All right. That's a good transition back.
Mike, the only thing I ask is please stop flirting with me in my DMs.
How'd you know that was me?
It's like, come on, guys. Be
I tried to set the name as Michelle so it would have a disguise, but somehow you still figured out it was me. Damn it, Joe. Let's go back to this Ravens game, Tony. Do you think that the Ravens blew this more or the refs screwed them more?
Oh, wow. I don't want to go after the refs that bad because I think they missed calls on both sides, right? Like Mahomes is clearly out of bounds when Roquan hits him. That should have been a penalty. I don't know how much that would have affected things. Maybe it would have made the Xavier Worthy touchdown shorter if that's the right drive I'm thinking of. But I think it's more like this, and I text you guys this. I think that some of the deficiencies that we discussed with the Ravens, they were just glaring in night one. And that's what's going to happen when you play the Chiefs in week 1. And the Ravens somehow, if you really ask me, I think it's impressive that the Ravens were able to hang in that game the way they were with some of the offensive line. There was maybe only a couple plays where I saw Falele where he had a couple pancake blocks, but more than often than not, it wasn't pretty. Again, not an offensive line expert, but just watching some of that stuff, I was like, yikes. Getting all those new starters there, then you get a defensive coordinator switch there. They seem to be, maybe less aggressive or less dynamic, especially when Kyle Van Noy goes out. He fractured his orbital socket. Do you know how much painful that must be? Inside of a helmet, people fell on him, and this part of he's pushing on this part. I'm like, oh, this is gross. I would say the Ravens are in a spot where it's they're going to figure this out. They're going to get it right. Week 2, easy work for them. At home, they're going to get back on the right track.
I am a little bit worried because I know you guys see it there in the corner. I didn't plug it well enough. We are also just throwing out some Super Bowl picks at the very end of the show. Just what we think. so it's on record. If we get it right, we can brag later. The Ravens were my Super Bowl pick. Spoiler alert. And I'm not going to change it until at least week 2. So I'm going to stick to that. But I'm very concerned about this offensive line. Joe Morley, what was your thoughts on the game as a whole? What was your thoughts on the Ravens? The Chiefs looked like the Chiefs. I think the Ravens are more the topic of conversation here.
I thought both of the offensive lines looked pretty bad. And it's week 1, so they, usually that's how it is. It starts getting better as the season goes on. But both quarterbacks were running crazy. I thought both defensive lines did a great job. And I hope the Ravens make these same damn mistakes next week. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm hoping for, is that the Ravens come out and look like shit next week as well. But I hate watching Kansas City. But, hey, Xavier Worthy, big game for the rookie. Tony's mad because Buffalo gave Kansas City yet another gift this season with that one. But, hey, Kansas City – are you guys surprised? I mean, it's only week 1, and we can't overreact on week 1 like we always do. But does it look like Kansas City has heard the word, the rumors outside that we were all talking about? Oh, Kelsey's getting older. All these guys are getting older, and now all of a sudden they're using all these young guys on offense. It's like, oh, because Kelsey was the non-factor yesterday. Really,
yeah.
It was.
Kelsey looked like a beast in the run game blocking, though. There were quite a few times where I was like, look at homeboy put on a little weight out here. He's locking up with people. I'll just say this, that I do think that there is an effort to make sure that they diversify how the offense is distributed this year. And that is the thing that's scary, because that was them without I don't even think that the Chiefs necessarily played that good. That they have way more levels to get to with this thing, and that's the shitty part for all of us who want to see somebody else in the Super Bowl, want to see somebody else win, and we happen to be fans of teams in the AFC West. So that's shitty news for us.
And you know what's funny? It's I hate this. This is one of the funny. I think it's funny. I hate it, but it's funny because I think when players lose to teams, and then they come out and say, "Well, we should have beat them. We had them," and all that. Isaiah Likely was saying something after the game, he said, if this is all they have, then they're gonna suck in the postseason or whatever. It's you didn't even beat them here. How are you gonna beat them in the postseason?
Yeah, they just played them in the postseason too. Your last 2 games is versus them. LL. It's not really something to bring up. I think it's a great attitude to have to yourself. I think we can beat this team. You still leave the game knowing that you can beat them when you see them later, but you don't need to go. It's just a media awareness type thing here with Isaiah Likely that he doesn't realize, because he's also, as he's walking out the stadium, he's yelling at fans, telling them to shut the F up and calling them little bitches and shit. So,
it's hey, we didn't beat you this time, but next time, we already know what we got to do to change this.
Man, Isaiah Likely has me juiced, man. Sorry for Mark Andrews fantasy owners. This guy is going to demand targets this year. That's exciting to see for him, at least.
Well, it looks like Zay Flowers is number 1 in targets, or number 1 option in that offense, and Isaiah Likely looks like number 2. And what I don't get is how you fed Derrick Henry on the first drive, right? I don't know what 4 or 5 carries that he got on the first drive, and then where was he the rest of the game?
Right?
They were quick to abandon it, just like the Tennessee Titans were when you get down by a little bit. What did you bring Derrick Henry in here for if you're not going to use him and you're still going to let Lamar run? I thought we would see a little bit less Lamar running and more of Derrick, or more of the running backs. And it didn't seem like Derrick Henry was in there a ton either. They kept moving him out.
Yeah, well, they kind of not abandoned the run, but the rushing attack kind of just became Lamar Jackson scrambling after a few seconds, or even designed QB draws. I agree with you. I was thinking that late in the game. I was like, where's Derrick Henry? The Chiefs defense looks absolutely gassed. This is the time to get that guy out there and start pounding the rock on him. But I think that the Ravens had such a lack of confidence in the O-line from the start of the game. This must have been an issue they came into this game worried about, because from the jump, you could tell that there was no confidence in this offensive line, in the rushing attack to get Henry some room, or in path protection. And it's going to be something that the Ravens definitely have to work out. Tony has confidence, and I appreciate that confidence, because I'm usually the one to have confidence in these types of situations. but that's a little bit ugly. I think that they're going to see some scarier D lines even in their division. We'll see what happens. I want to talk about Xavier Worthy too, but go ahead, Joe.
Well, yeah, you can talk about. I was just saying, like, when I'm hearing Justice Hill's name the whole game, and I'm like, the big one that everybody thought about was Derrick Henry. Where's Derrick Henry? That was my only thing that I saw, and it just looked like we thought the Ravens, and maybe they are. Maybe it's week 1, so we're jumping up again. But you would thought they've learned their lesson from last year's loss in the playoffs to the Chiefs to this year, where they went more pass happy last year, and they should have been running the ball. And like you said, like that offensive line looked bad, and and we talked about it, how they replaced a lot of starters on that offensive line. But I don't know. But I mean, unless they're trying to go U2 with Justice Hill, work him in, and maybe they know that Derrick Henry, like we've talked about, is at the back end, and maybe they want to work him in and not overwork him during the regular season. I can see that as well, but I would want to see a little bit more Derrick Henry. And I don't know if you saw it, Mike, but on some of the like designed runs by Lamar Jackson, they were hoping that receivers would make the big block, and there was one where Aguilar just straight missed the block, like, and Lamar got laid out. Like, it's just like I think you're putting too much on receivers to block if you're always doing that.
And Lamar was getting frustrated too. That's not something you want to see in week 1. You get mad at his receivers because they're running the wrong routes or missing blocks or fill in the blank. But yeah, overall, I'm wearing the ref jersey here. I think that the Ravens blew the game more so than the refs blew it for them. The illegal formations was annoying at the beginning of the game, but at the same time, like, they weren't changing anything. Like, the refs were telling the Ravens, you're lining up in an illegal formation, and they just lined up in the same formation the next play. It's like, guys, you have to change something. They're saying that the linemen need to come up onto the line of scrimmage. Then they need to move up onto the line of scrimmage. You can't just expect them not to call it the next play and do the same exact thing again. Like, I understand it's a BS call. We're being nitpicky to call this 3 times in the first quarter. But at the same time, every call that they called, the lineman wasn't moving up. Like, he wasn't listening to what they were calling. So how is it the ref's fault to just call it consistently the next play again? And yes, I agree with Kyle. They could have called it both ways. The Chiefs couldn't call for things as well. But as a whole, the Ravens probably had 3 touchdowns in this game left off the board. They had a chance at the end of the game where Lamar Jackson has already come out and he's given his interview and given his take on that play. He said that he was going to throw to another receiver and tried to pull it and changed it to Zay Flowers last second. I'm not going to call Lamar any liars or anything, but you were throwing that to Zay Flowers, my guy, and you just missed it. You were on the run, your feet weren't set, and you threw a sloppy pass.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate for the Ravens because I'm rooting for the Ravens, obviously, to go to the Super Bowl. But
yeah.
Okay, Xavier Worthy. Let's go back to that.
Kyle said something about false starts on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I've seen that all over TikTok and Twitter as well. And I'm the one that will make the video about it. Like, look at all the penalties they missed about the Chiefs. But deep down in my heart, I know that if I picked apart any game, I could find stuff. You could find it in any game. You could find 3, 4, 5 things at least out of 150 freaking offensive plays for both sides that they missed. But yeah, I see the videos. I know what the narrative is, and I am here to push it.
Yeah, when you hate a team, you see more stuff. You see more wrong than you see right with that team. Like, when I watch the Kansas City games, I'm like, how'd they get away with that? Like,
yeah,
you already know that. Like, we're going to make different excuses because nobody wants. And they already made the nickname. Remember last week, Tony said that they were going to come out with a nickname of what they would call the Chiefs 3-peat or whatever. So they're calling it the Chief Pete or whatever. The 3-peat is the Chief Pete, or is that what they're starting to call it? So it's already up there. It's already on there. Peter Schrager has predicted the Super Bowl for the last 5-6 years, and he's predicting that the Chiefs win this year. And he's been correct the last. So I'm like, just watching it last night. I think that's what it is. Like. And I think the NFL does an excellent job putting the Chiefs as number 1, the Super Bowl champions as the first game, because they know we're going to tune in just for one thing, to watch the Chiefs lose, and we didn't get it. We didn't get our happy ending last night.
It really is the new Patriots.
Now. We're just walking around pissed off.
It's really the new Patriots, Joe. That's what the effect they're getting. And I never I hated the Patriots. I usually rooted against the Patriots, but I never hated them as much as everyone else. I kind of admired the run that I got to live through as a kid and grow up watching. But I just can't admire this. This is just torture as an AFC West fan. If this was not an AFC West, maybe I could be at least some kind of support. But there's nothing that I can do but just watch and be pissed at this dude in the corner. If you're a Chiefs fan, rock this shirt in the corner here. Show it off to your friends that the Reaper has still got 15 years left in him, unfortunately, for all of us. Okay, Xavier Worthy. Perfect timing because we're already 20 minutes in. We need to talk about all the rest of the games.
Yeah.
But we've seen it with Deshaun Jackson. I know, Tony, you hate it when I do this. But after that game, he had 3 touches, I think, and scored 2 touchdowns. So you seen Andy Reid with Deshaun Jackson. You seen Andy Reid with Tyreek Hill. Are we seeing another situation like that?
Absolutely. Right? And here's the thing is that Deshaun Jackson people don't realize that he had over 10,000 yards in the NFL. Imagine if that dude didn't have bad hamstrings. Just imagine what Deshaun Jackson probably puts up 14,000 yards. If he doesn't miss games, leave games early, because that speed is so dynamic, right? Tyreek's career is it. You can go wherever you want when you're that dynamic. We're seeing it. Tyreek is having more explosive seasons with a quarterback like Tua that we don't put on the same level as Mahomes because of his abilities next level. Xavier Worthy, his ability is next level. Is that speed. I was a little confused as to why they weren't a little more physical with him. I didn't watch it that closely, but on some of the plays, I was like, hey, get up there and kind of, rough him up a little bit, welcome him to the NFL. And there was a lot of free releases. So maybe if I went back and actually watched the game, watched all of just him, I would notice that they did actually try that. And maybe he's really just built and ready to be a baller in the NFL, which again, shitty for us. That this is week 1 and it was 2 touches, 2 touchdowns. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's not fun at all for us. And Kyle, I understand your worries, man. That's why we saw Rashee Rice running the slants. That's why we saw him doing the hooks with Kelsey and the other tight ends. Noah Gray got involved. They're not going to have him just running into a wall, Kyle. They're going to use him in those fast ways that they used him last night. I think the quantity will go up even, but they're not just going to put him in harm's way like the Chargers did with Mike Williams every week.
We saw Rashee Rice at the end of last season. I know that there was the offseason controversy, so he kind of got lost a little bit. But if you really think back to the final sort of 7-8 weeks and into the playoffs with Rashee Rice, he was emerging as a legit wide receiver 1, sort of in that Michael Thomas style mold. So not shocked at all that it looks this good and that it can only get that much better once they start to figure things out.
Did you pick KC, Tony?
I did. I remember I told you I'm picking every game against the spread this year. I want to see how good I could do. I also picked them to cover the 3 points. So one for one I am.
1 for Team TT. Do it, Tony. Do it.
There it is.
There it is. Joe, anything on Xavier? Can I move us on?
No, I'm ready to move on.
All right, let's go Green Bay and Philly in Brazil. This is interesting because these are 2 really good teams for one. The Eagles have added to the secondary. That's kind of what they're trying to fix on defense. They've added Saquon, trying to take this offense to the next level, especially in the rushing department. Over the other side, it feels like Green Bay is just trying to get a year better. They got a lot of confidence in the guys they've drafted, the guys they've brought in here, and what they did last year to kind of break out with this team. I know that they're coming into this game just as hungry. Eagles are their home team, but this is going on in Brazil, which is interesting, by the way. I don't know how the NFL got this lined up to still be a 5:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff. So that's impressive. Maybe it's easier because Brazil's over here with us on this side of the world, at least. I don't know. But good job to the NFL for that. I didn't have to change my schedule at all. What's your thoughts in this game, Joe? Packers on the road in Philly. I know that you have kind of been up and down with Jordan Love, right, Joe?
Yeah, and I actually drafted Jordan Love in my fantasy league last night, and it's just because he's still growing. We don't know what Jordan Love we're going to get this season. Last season was we saw two different Jordan Loves, one at the beginning of the season and one at the end of the season. And the one at the end of the season got his ass paid, right? Got paid for what he's doing. So we just want to see him continue to grow as a quarterback. So, yeah, he does have questions. And there's questions with that Green Bay offense because they are a young offense, but very, very talented. And we got to see how that offensive line holds up. Josh Jacobs now in that offense. So they actually, I think the running game will be better than it was last year for Green Bay. And should have a little bit of help back there. But this is a very tough matchup. And it's always weird when teams travel. So I don't know if we'll actually get to see the real two teams that are out there today traveling to Brazil, putting it on there in week one. I know it's we love these international games, but sometimes traveling affects teams more than we think.
Yeah, because the Jaguars are like, what, 4-1 or something in London, but in the last 5 years, they've only made the playoffs once or something. So unbeatable abroad. And I wonder how the travel is going to affect this game. We're going to get soccer fans in there for one. So that's going to be interesting. But Tony, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think the travel is going to affect it a ton? Does it affect your pick at all? Can you really predict who it affects more? Does it affect the younger team more?
So this is the way I look at this game. Like, one thing I want to happen for sure is I want to go 2 for 2 on my fantasy football tight end sleeper picks that me and Joe made, where some fan came on and called me an idiot for picking Isaiah Likely and Luke Musgrave. If I go 2 for 2, I'm digging up that video. I'm finding the guy in the comments, and I'm going to send him how we feel now about that. At least after week 1, take a little walk. But I would say
now.
Exactly. You guys know I would never do that. 1, because I'm lazy, and 2, I just don't like to have that kind of confrontation with individuals. I'm picking the team in this game that I feel like is less complainy about the travel, that is less, sort of drama, tumultuous situations happening right now, where it's like, I'm taking the Packers in this game, right? I don't know if we're giving our picks at the beginning, middle, whenever we feel like it. But I'm taking the Packers because I feel like they are more on the page of like, hey, it's game 1. And like Nick Sirianni's that guy. And a lot of those guys on the Eagles and a lot of football players this way. They go, I'll play you anywhere. I'll play you on concrete. I'll play you in this place. And then the league's like, hey, we're going to actually take you on your word, and we're going to send you to Brazil to play a game. And then all of a sudden you start hearing people go, I don't want to play there. It's like, wait, I've heard people, and I'm not saying the Eagles have said this specifically, but I've heard players go, I'll play anywhere, anytime. And it's like the NFL is like, hey, you guys said it. I've heard NFL players say it. We're making you play in Brazil. I'm taking the Packers. I think it's a close game. It's a good game. There's a lot of newness to the Eagles that I think is going to take a minute to figure out. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new pieces on both sides of the football there. And I think if it's a little bit of a slow start, I think the Packers already have enough continuity to maybe get a big enough lead. And maybe the new defensive coordinator is even just okay. That's a huge upgrade for Green Bay.
I think Kyle might be onto something here in the chat. It being week 1 doesn't really make the travel thing as big a deal. These teams have been preparing for this basically all offseason. They've been knowing since the schedule release they're going to Brazil week 1. So it's not like this is a surprise out of nowhere. I think I'm going the opposite, Tony, but it's kind of contingent on the Eagles just kind of being wise here. You have the really, really, really elite O-line. I know Kelsey's gone. I know it's not the same, but it's going to be really good still. Like, 4 out of the 5 spots, I feel like the Eagles are still going to have a Pro Bowl or higher level player at, and they have Saquon Barkley. They have Jalen Hurts. Don't overthink this, Kellen Moore. Don't ask Jalen Hurts to be something that he isn't. Let's go get this dub. Let's run the football, and let's give this defense a chance to show off a little bit in this first game. We saw last night some of the struggles from the Ravens offense, some of the struggles from the Chiefs offense. The Eagles can negate all of that in the passing game and just try and dominate this thing on the ground. Joe, who's your pick? I'm taking Philly. Tony is taking Green Bay. And by the way, guys, I was just about to do that. Thank you so much. We have some Eagles merch. Packers merch is coming soon, Packers fans. So definitely go follow the page. Fitdown.shop or scan the QR code on the screen, y'all. Get you some Jalen Hurts merch.
I was looking up because Harrison was like, what's the temperature in Brazil? So I was kind of looking it up because that caught my interest right there.
I think it's a dome anyways. So
okay.
Does it really matter? Like I saw
it's not even that hot down there. It's like 80s.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't, but I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. One, because I want to see Josh Jacobs loose and I can make fun of it, and two, I like the Eagles' offense. I think but when Tony was talking, it got me thinking too. Like Vic Fangio coming in, being the Eagles' defense coordinator, and we've always seen it where you're not comfortable with your defense, where you're overthinking stuff, and it slows you down just a little bit. And like Tony got me like with the offense, how good the Eagles or the Packers offense has been together, like that could help them beat the Eagles by just a little bit. So I'm still riding with the Eagles just because I believe in the Eagles offense, and I think that defensive line is going to give the Packers offensive line some trouble. So early in the season, I'll take the Eagles.
One last note in this game: the offensive and defensive coordinators for the Eagles this year faced off in Week 1 in a matchup. Vic Fangio gave up 35 points to the Chargers or whatever it was, and Kellen Moore scored that 35 points. Like it was 30, remember that game, Week 1, 37-35? We thought the running game was back. Eckler went nuts in that game. So, like, I think that there's the biggest adjustment that has to be, like, I'm going to be looking at is the center position, right? Like, what does that look like without Jason Kelce? Like, how's the calls going? How's the offensive line shifting and picking up, different pressure looks and stuff like that? That's interesting to me to see if that loss is noticeable, because the Packers have a ton invested in that defensive line. And I don't think we talk enough about guys like Kenny Clark. Can Devontae Wyatt make that jump? Is Van Ness getting in there and causing havoc, rushing from the outside, edge, inside, stuff like that. So it's I didn't even mention Rashawn Gary. Like this is
Rashawn Gary's good
for them. This is a test for that offensive line. Is there cohesion there?
We shall see.
So, you want to read this question, Tony?
Well, the Eagles have a learning curve on how to use Barkley like the Ravens did with Henry. So one of the things that everybody's been hyping up is the Derrick Henry move to Baltimore. And that one to me was like, in theory, yeah, this is a really great move. But like, what if you're still focused so much on passing and you have Lamar on that side? Like, again, every time there's newness, there's going to be an adjustment period. Like it will work out. But like Week 1, they're trying to figure shit out. And Lamar was really playing that game like revenge game. I know he said it didn't mean anything. He wasn't thinking about the year before. Like it's Week 1. We just got to focus on this year. Lamar played that game like I heard you guys all summer talking about how I didn't run enough, how we didn't run enough. Well, look, this is how it worked out.
Didn't work out any different. Same exact point differential and everything. All right, so we're going Eagles. Joe's got the Eagles. Tony's got the Packers.
Tony's 2-0.
So Tony has a chance of going 2-0 on us, Mike.
Yeah, I know. Just to start the year, we're going to start it off with the back-to-back defending champion going up 2-0. That would be great.
But just to let you guys know, this is how it always works out with MJT. If you guys haven't been following us, Tony always takes an early season lead. Then he loses it during the end of the season, and Mike and I end up winning the Pick'em Challenge, and Tony blames us for cheating.
Yep. I pick with my heart once we get further into the season, and it is a terrible thing. I'm not going to let that happen this year.
Yeah, you let us people who just pick with nonsense catch up with our nonsense. But
I pick my color. So if I think their color or their logo is beautiful, then that's the one I'm like. Or like, there's shopping in this city, I'll just take that.
That's it right there. Oh man. But speaking of nonsense, I got some nonsense here because I know you guys hate it when I do this, but I have my first pick change, 3 picks into the 2024 season. I already posted my Pick'ems video on Monday with the Cowboys selected in this game. I keep sleeping on it. I'm switching to the Browns. Something stinks about both of these teams, but when I look at the Cowboys' issues with the contract negotiations with Dak, contract negotiations with CeeDee Lamb, the practice I went to and saw in person, and really the energy just seemed down from players to coaches to ownership to fans. The Browns don't excite me a bunch this year either because I'm not a big Deshaun Watson believer, but I think this defense is going to be really good again. Really good here Week 1. They're going to run the ball with Jerome Ford. Give me the Browns. I'm switching from the Cowboys to the Browns, but go ahead, Tony. What do you think?
So I'm taking the Cowboys, and
boy.
I don't feel great about it, right? Like I'm taking them based on week one. What can I rely on offensively? And I just think Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb is enough for me to say, because I really think that for Tom Brady's first game, like this is the game he's going to call, he's going to be watching a defensive battle in this game. Like this, I think both of these defenses are going to show up, are going to perform really well. So it's like Cowboys running game. It wasn't going to be I don't really think it's going to be like a huge factor even if they aren't playing Cleveland. So it's like, can Dak and CeeDee capture enough of the magic, right? And then you sprinkle in a little bit of Jake Ferguson. I heard Dak say a lot of glowing things about Jalen Tolbert. I like that. Brandon Cooks. I think there's enough offensively in the pass game for the Cowboys to get to 20 points and win a game 20-16. As to where with the Browns, I don't have a ton of expectations for this offense. Like I didn't draft any Cleveland Browns in fantasy football because I just don't think it's going to be a very good offense. So, but we'll see. I mean, he could come out and recapture 2021 Watson or 2020 Watson, and it's like, oh shit, the Browns got something here. Joe thinks that's hilarious. I'll take the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think it's anybody who believes in Deshaun Watson. I got some beachfront property for you in like Wyoming or something. I don't know. How about is that what they always say? Because no. Anyways, I'm waiting, Tony. You guys know I'm waiting for the Dallas Cowboys to collapse this year and that fire to start it up. And I think it starts week one right here. I do think we're questioning the Cowboys offense too much, but that running game is going to be horrible. So they're going to rely on Dak a lot. And what is Dak good for at least once a game? A nice interception. And I like the Browns defense. And that's the only thing I like about the Browns. But I think the Browns are going to play the game correctly where they're going to have enough where they can score enough and keep the Cowboys down, and their defense takes over at the end of the fourth quarter. So I'm taking the Browns in this game just because I want to see the Cowboys fans start crying early in the season. They've been quiet this whole offseason, so it's been nice. But even the Dallas Cowboy fans have no faith in their team this year.
So my last thing on this game is they're starting the rookie, Tyler Guyton. He's new offensive lineman. BB's going to be on the offensive line too. Does Myles Garrett have like a nice little week 1 3-sack performance and ruin the game? I would say that's sort of my one area of concern is like, does Myles Garrett realize, hey, that's the mark right there. I'm lining up over this guy every play, whether it's inside or outside, and he just goes to town and just beats a couple of rookies for 3.5 sack game.
That sounds right down 95's alley. That sounds like him if I know him at all. Okay, so we're 0-3, Joe. Yay.
Yep, way to go, guys. This is starting out great for me.
Let's start out here. Cowboys fans, check out the shirt in the corner, just like the previous teams. We got the 88s. I love that little CeeDee Lamb cowboy that we made there. If you guys just want to check it out, we have it like on plain shirts and on hats as well on the website. Let's move on to the next game here. By the way, for the record, NFLMike has the Browns. Joe has the Browns. Tony has the Cowboys. Tony, please tell me that you're taking the Panthers, which I'm switching another pick here in my fourth pick. But I'm taking the Panthers in this game in an upset. I think this young team comes out hungry week 1 and shocks the Saints a little bit. Hey, like I saw out of the Saints last year. And this is another one that I picked the Saints originally with my like no thought pickems challenge that I posted early in the week, and I just started to think, you know.
For Harrison's 21st birthday, Tony, can you give him something to cheer about this weekend?
Absolutely not. He's been talking shit about the Chargers all offseason, talking about how they're a 3-4 win team. There's no way I'm giving him jack shit for his birthday. So I'm not taking the Panthers, Mike. Like, this is not – I think the Saints can start the season off with a nice big bang, can have that moment where everybody's like, it's their year, look how well they perform, before reality really sets in, right? Like, everybody's healthy. Alvin Kamara should have some juice out there. I think this is going to be a great game for a nice little A.T. Perry coming out party and, you know, Shaheed over the top. Olave's, eaten too. So like, I think the Saints win behind a very rowdy crowd to start the season. Panthers, the one thing that I'm most interested to see is like, is the investment in the interior line, is that providing a good enough pocket where in those moments where Young needs to step up, like, is he getting that ability there? Like, if that happens, Panthers I'm way under on their win total. If that middle of that interior line is good, Canales is coming out with some really interesting sort of moving the pocket, rolling out stuff for Bryce Young, I probably am way low on the Panthers for the win total.
I need you to just hold up for one game. One game, Carolina. Joe, who do you got?
Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
Woo, 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 woo. This is my lock of the week right here. Lock of the week right here. I'm taking the New Orleans Saints as my survivor pick over the Carolina Panthers. Lock this one in, everybody. Woo!
I'm glad at least someone here will get an L. It probably will be me, but I'm glad at least that we're not like just having the exact same thing keep happening all the way down the line where Tony's going to be up 10-0 by the end of the picks.
It's not nothing against the Carolina Panthers. They're a good young team up and coming, and they're going to have some learning curves in a division game that anything could happen. I'm just not like Tony said, there's just more question marks about the Carolina Panthers entering this game. The Saints might not have it for the long term, like a great season, but week one, I'm taking the veteran Saints over.
Yeah. Betting on the Saints as your survivor pick, though, Joe, that is ballsy. Like, ever picking the Saints, Derek Carr as your survivor pick, knowing damn well that he could just drop just an ugly game at any moment against any team.
Joe, I can't.
You want to win a survivor pool, you got to have balls, and you got to take teams like that because everybody else is taking the winners and taking like easy picks, and you want to save those. You got to go big or go home for survivor.
Why don't you pick the Raiders then?
Because it's too close of a matchup. You don't, Mike. Oh my God, you don't listen.
Okay, so it's close. It's a close game. It's not going to be the blow.
You make one phone call right now, Mike.
Here we go with this. On to Vikings Giants. I've got the Panthers. These two got the Saints. Two Derek Carr fans over there. Just let them be. Anyways, on here to Vikings on the road in New York. This game's interesting because, that's cool. Got the signed Derek Carr gear and everything to pull up on cue. This game's interesting. Obviously, Sam Darnold's quarterback of the Vikings, but the Vikings still have those receivers. They still have this passing attack that Kirk Cousins has shined in over the last couple of years. The Giants have lost Saquon Barkley, the main piece of their offense, but they're kind of turning the keys over to Malik Neighbors. Can Daniel Jones do better in an offense where that top-end talent is that receiver instead of running back? We're about to see right away. I have no faith in Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looked terrible against the backups in the preseason. Give me Sam Darnold. Give me the Vikings. I believe in O'Connell to put something together that's going to put up points on the Giants defense, even with an upgraded pass rush that they've had in previous years. The other way around, I don't have any faith in Daniel Jones. I don't have any faith in what the Giants have put out on offense the last couple of years. Joe, I'll let you go first on this one. Vikings or Giants?
I believe in Sam Darnold.
Oh, here we go.
I am taking the Minnesota Vikings in this game because the same thing that you said, Mike. I don't think I could ever back Danny Dimes. When the organization themselves have done nothing this offseason but throw Danny Dimes under the bus to prepare for the season, why are we fans going to say, okay, Danny Dimes can do something? Like every single time you turn something on, the general manager of his own team has talked shit about it and want to replace him with somebody. So then you go week one, you guys want to back the Giants? Fuck no. I think the Giants defense is going to be outstanding. I think they should be a really, really good defense. And I don't know why I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings because everything tells me that the Vikings aren't going to be that great of a team too. But I just think Danny Dimes is going to make that one play. That he made it in the preseason. Like you saw it in the preseason where he threw a pick six right next to the end zone. Like he has not grown as a quarterback, and to make me think that he will just because the regular season is here, I'm not doing it. So I'll take this loss if the Giants somehow pull this off, but I'm not going to take the Giants this week.
So I know you're excited to see Malik Neighbors at minimum, at least.
I am. I picked him in fantasy. I didn't come prepared. I want to apologize. Joe had a really great locks of the week. So I would like to make this my Panda Express fortune cookie advice pick of the week, and that's going to be for Daniel Jones. It's the Vikings. This is one of those games where it's like Brian Flores has been game planning and been like, how many times can I blitz this guy to make him panic at the beginning of any play? How many times can I show like we're bringing 8 people on this one play and then we're going to drop people back? Like, I think Metellus ends up with an interception in this game because like at a certain point, the offensive line has to do their job and communication. There's just too much stuff that can go wrong with this offense. So I have a big, I was
Thanks,
like,
Kyle.
I'm like, I'm not going to open this and actually read this fortune for Daniel Jones. I already feel like I'm disrespecting the culture, and I'm not going to do that anymore. This is a moment where Daniel Jones in week 1 can shut up a lot of haters and a lot of doubters. And I've believed in the past that Daniel Jones could be a good, solid quarterback in the NFL. I'm not sure that it's going to happen anymore. And I'm definitely not sure it's happening in week 1 against a guy who blitzes like 60% of the time. Like, I just can't imagine him thriving in that atmosphere.
Vikings on 3. 1, 2, 3. Vikings.
Goal!
Oh, we used to have one that we like. Here, let's do this.
Oh, that's for wake up call. That's for wake up call when we agree on those start sit. Anyways, we're all rocking with Minnesota.
Bring it in, guys. Come on, Tony. Bring it in. Gotcha.
I've always had a theory that I bet against rookie quarterbacks their first season, especially their first game, and it's worked out well for me in previous years. And here we are, rookie quarterback on the road in Seattle in that environment against an experienced team in Seattle offensively, at least. I'm going with the Broncos for those reasons. I think that Bo Nix can give Broncos fans something to be excited about in this game, but I think he makes 1 mistake, 2 mistakes. I don't believe in the Broncos O-line to hold up enough to where Bo Nix is just going to have a clean pocket all game like he did in the preseason where he just stood there and dotted people down the field. Tony, I'll let you go here. Broncos or Seahawks?
I got the Seahawks narrow, right? Like, and it's so close because the Seahawks are so banged up right now. I don't know what they did with the new regime coming in. I do think that there is a world in which Sean Payton just finds a way, out coaches, squeaks out a nice victory in the first start here. But I am going to side with the 12s on this one and just think that the home field advantage, Geno Smith being healthy, there's so much talent on that offense that we could see a game that's like 31-28 type of a 27 football game here, where both of these defenses are kind of trying to get their footing. So I'm gonna ride with the 12s. Geno, Ryan Grubb, new offensive coordinator. Excited to see that.
Hawks, Joe?
The Denver Broncos were undefeated in the preseason, so you don't think that's going to carry over to the regular season with everything that they've done to get to where they are right now? I don't, because I'm going to take this In-N-Out card and just go buy me a burger while they watch them lose. That's what I'm going to do, Tony, because the Denver Broncos have no way to win this game against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, great defense. Offense is going to show up. I think the Broncos are going to be more competitive this year. There's no doubt about it. But there's no way that we could just, like, for people to be so locked in and talking about how great the Broncos team is going to be this year, I think that's ridiculous. And they're going to show week 1 that they're competitive, but not quite there this year.
I like it. I'm with you.
I'm taking Seattle. That's my thing.
Seattle across the board here. Here's the Shave shirts, y'all. This is a cool Shannon Sharp shirt. I even have to admit it, as a Broncos and Shannon Sharp hater myself, Team Skip Bayless all the way. But anyways.
That's a terrible.
That's a terrible side to take, I know. But anyways, let's speed this up a little bit. Bengals Patriots, even with the receivers out, which news is breaking, by the way, if you guys aren't paying attention.
I saw it.
I think T. Higgins. No T. Higgins.
No.
Probably, maybe, possibly no Jamar Chase. So, do you guys believe in Joe Burrow still as much as you did before? Joe, I thought this would be your survivor pool pick of the week, but is that receiver situation got you going? You know what? Let's lock this in on the Saints instead.
No, this is a very, very popular pick for Survivor, but that's why I don't. That's why I didn't do it, Mike, because everybody and their mom is going to take the Bengals this week for the Survivor. And if you know anything about Survivor, you try not to take the same teams as everybody else because then you don't have to use it. I might have to use the Bengals later on when they're 100%. So, do I think a banged up Bengals team can still beat this Patriots team? Absolutely, and it won't even make a big difference if Joe Burrow wasn't playing. This is how bad the Patriots team is. You think this Patriots team has absolute no offensive line. They're going to get their ass handed to them, and this game is going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly quick. And I have no like we're talking about like the Patriots, like Jacoby Brissett is like that's your number one guy, and this I have no faith in the Patriots at all this year. Like I'm glad that this is happening to the Patriots, that the downfall of the Patriots has hit them hard. But did we ever think that it was going to be this bad? But the injuries have no effects to me. Burton, the rest of this offense can carry this team and win easily. You might just win by 20 now instead of winning by 30.
So wise old Grandpa Morley, Joe's grandpa used to always say, "There's no such thing as a bad game in week one." He's right because football's back, but this is as close as it gets. Like we're missing the stars potentially from the game. Bengals wide receivers out. So now we're to this point where it's like, is this a game I'm going to actually go back and watch? Like maybe if the stats tell me that it's like interesting, but I just don't see where it is like super compelling or like things you're going to take from this game for the Bengals in week one, and if you're the Bengals, you might be saying, let's not risk an injury to Chase and Higgins because you got KC in week 2. We all saw how that worked out. So like, can we get these guys healthy? Can we get through the game with Irwin, Yeshivash and Burton, right? If we can do that, we can run the ball. Chase Brown, I made some crazy statements about him. No Barmore, no Judon. Gonzalez coming back from a knee injury. I just don't see how you rally the troops in this moment behind that offensive line. So there we go. Chris Jenkins, Michigan Wolverine, big debut. Let's see a couple inside moves, couple sacks in week one.
I would love to see the Patriots just give the ball to 38. That would be great. Make me a little happier, guys. Let's get Ramondre going early here. I think that a lot of fantasy players are watching that Bengals backfield as well. See what happens in this game. But I got Cincy as well, guys. All right, another one. I think that this one's pretty easy to pick. The Jaguars can win this game. I think the Jaguars have the offensive firepower, and they've shown it in the past when Trevor Lawrence is on. Now you have Brian Thomas Jr. in the offense. Christian Kirk's still there. They can go out there and get in a shootout with the Dolphins and compete. But I'm relying on this Dolphins defense to just be any better to start with, and the offense to do what it does early on in the season, which is just take off on people. I'm taking the Dolphins. I feel very comfortable with it. Joe, who you got in this one?
Yeah, this is the one team I think this is the one team that I wouldn't want to face week one is the Miami Dolphins. Just because of everything that they could do on offense and the creative ability of their head coach. And they're just going to throw speed at you. And you already know that your defense is already slow to catch up. And to have you have tape on them, but you have old tape from last year. And you know that McDaniels has been creating some stuff. So, and plus, I'm not a believer in the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. Like I know some people have put them up there. I just think Miami should win this game. I think they win it easily just because their offense is going to put up some points. It's going to be we're going to see some ridiculous plays.
The Fins, Tony?
Usually we get the thing where it's like nobody wants to play in Miami. They can't deal with that heat down there, whatever. No excuses, Jaguars. You're also from Florida, and you have to deal with the heat. So I don't want to hear any they're not used to it. Yes, you are. It's the Dolphins for me, right? Like week one, like Joe said, with the surprises there. I think the thing I'm most interested to see that hasn't been talked about by you guys is what is the pass rush? What does the D-line look like for the Dolphins? Like, does Doug Peterson come out and say, hey, we're going to give the ball to Bigsby and Etienne a bunch, and we're going to see without Wilkins, without the edge rushers, can they do something here? Like Chop Robinson might be out there at edge rusher. Let's run the ball at this guy a bunch and neutralize what he does best, which is rush the passer. So there's some elements to that are very intriguing for me. I think this is going to be a fun, high-scoring football game.
And Jalen Ramsey today, biggest contract for a cornerback, 3 years, $72 million.
Congratulations, Jalen. There it is. Make that money, player.
Put it on the board.
Yes.
$24 million a year for him.
That's crazy.
That's great for him. Way to go. He's been a
big money.
Yep.
Staying in Florida here. The Commanders are coming to Tampa. Same thoughts here with the Broncos. Sorry, I need a drink.
Yeah, I totally shit my bet on the Dolphins too here.
Same thoughts with the Broncos here. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a great rookie year. I love Jaden Daniels. I think, there's the Dolphin shirt, by the way, y'all. The Cheetah one. These ones are personally one of my favorites.
I already have the Cheetah
ones.
Like Mike said, you just get your favorite players. You ain't even got to really rep the team. I've got a bunch of my favorites. I got the Dan Campbell shirt for the Lions.
Yeah, if anyone gets mad, it's not a Dolphins jersey on the player. Say, hey, that's a 5th down jersey. Get your facts straight, bro. If anyone gives you any problems.
And a lot
anyways,
of are picked out by somebody who's colorblind, so we're not even using official team colors.
On to Commanders, Bucs here. What do you think, Tony?
I like the Bucs a lot.
Me too.
The veteran stuff here. We are talking Super Bowl picks later, so just so I can get this out of the way, the Bucs were a sneaky team for me that I thought would be interesting and somebody that I could cheer for, be excited about. But then when you just look at who's rushing the passer, there's just not a lot. It's like Yaya Diaby and Tryon Shranko. I don't even know if he's still there. I haven't looked at the roster that closely. But I don't know. But in this particular game here, I think that a veteran defensive coordinator can do a few things enough to eliminate Jaden Daniels' ability to throw the ball downfield, right? They'll figure out some stuff to kind of confuse him. I do think it'll be interesting to see is Levante David still young enough to run for 4 quarters in week 1 in Florida heat and chase sideline to sideline, because we've talked about all this offseason a lot. Levante David's a Hall of Famer in my book, right? But in year 12, year 13, can he still go ahead and chase down this young man? From the Commander side, it's, for me, the thing that's most intriguing is going to be what is Dan Quinn, does he give some sort of a jump to how bad the defense was last year? And some of the players that are there and returning? Can you notice enough of they really are going to be able to take off under this new regime here?
Joe, you rocking with the rookie at all?
I really want to. I really want to go with the Washington team, because if there's any team that can disappoint us week 1, it'd be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? When you put hopes on the Baker Mayfield, you think that the Buccaneers can finally pull it off. It seems like they always lose the game that you think they can win. And Washington coming out there, and what I'm looking at is I look at Washington's defense, and I got the same thing that Tony just said about Dan Quinn. How much can he improve this team? And they have some great playmakers over there. Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, and then they brought in former Raider great Clean Farrell to start on that defensive line, right? So you got that going for him. I really I think this is the game that I think I've gone back and forth the most on, where I'm like, okay, I'll take Tampa Bay. And I'm looking at, because look at that offense, right? That offense should put up points. And then I'm like, they have a better defense. And I'm wondering if Washington surprises them this week. And I right now I have the Bucs, but what did you take, Tony? You took the Bucs too?
I took the Bucs. Yeah,
Bucs. I know you're gonna do it.
Do it, Joe.
I'm switching right now. I'm going with the Washington Commanders. Why not? I'm taking Washington Commanders week 1.
Good call. Excellent.
There you go.
New team, new coaching staff on the road week 1 against mighty Baker Mayfield. Bad choice, my friend.
Yeah. Way to go, Joe. Way to go. But you guys want to check out the Tampa shirts? We got Tampa Tommy down there. You guys can celebrate Tom Brady's last little run there with the Bucs. Check out that shirt. There's a lot of details in there that I put in. about the rings, about the GOAT being the GOAT. I have that shirt myself too. That one's pretty cool. But let's keep this train moving along here to Atlanta. And this game was tough for me because the Steelers tend to be good early on in the season for the entire season. Going into this game, Atlanta trying to figure it out with a new quarterback, new offense, new coach, new everything. Against the Steelers defense, I didn't like the odds of that, but those last few defensive moves that Atlanta made to really add even more life, more juice, more leadership to the defense side of the ball. Now you got two just game wreckers in your secondary at the safety positions. The great A.J. Terrell, the second highest paid corner in the league now. I'm trusting Atlanta's defensive additions to be able to pull out a close win here against a Steelers team who I don't expect to have a great offense. I don't know what they're going to do here. If Russell Wilson's out and Fields is in there, Falcons just got to stop the run, man, to win this game. So give me Atlanta.
I'll make mine quick. I'm going with the Steelers. I'm not sure. I forgot to check the status of Russell Wilson for this game and whether or not he's going to be able to go. To me, ultimately, I guess the only thing that would really make the biggest difference is just in the run game, right? But I think that the Steelers win this game with defense. I just can't see a situation in which, Christian or Kirk Cousins has been rehabbing a lot this season, getting back out there. How much is he really on the same page in week one enough to win a game late there? And I just feel like there has this setup to be disappointment for the Falcons in week one and real enthusiasm for Mike Tomlin of a team that's eventually going to end up 9-8 or 10-7, that's my take.
Here we go again. Joe, who you got?
It says Russell Wilson is limited and probably is. All they keep saying is he's iffy. He's iffy. So I don't think Russell Wilson's playing with the calf injury, and they'll go with Justin Fields. And does that make a big difference to me? Probably not. I think the one thing that we're looking at is what the Pittsburgh Steelers are built on, and that's their defense, right? T.J. Watt getting to the injured or returning injured quarterback Kirk Cousins, making him run on that Achilles and see if he can elevate Drake London and Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts came out with a hamstring injury, right? That he says he's ready for week one, but is he really ready for week one? I'm like Tony. I'm leaning more towards Mike Tomlin and his team and the veteran leadership over there. And before I push everything in and push all the chips in on the Falcons and believing in the Falcons with everything they got this year, I want to see them beat a team like this that is a good, solid team, but has a lot of question marks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This would be a good win for the Falcons, but I don't think they pull it off. I'm going with the
Falcons really, too, in my estimation, this is a big win. It's not a must win, obviously, but I think their first 3 weeks are really difficult, and you can't afford to start off 0-3. The Penix hype would be out of control.
Yeah, please. Oh, yeah, with Penix just sitting there in the wings, pun intended, waiting. That would be terrible. Come on, please, Atlanta. Don't let that happen. Give me one here. All right, on to Chicago, hosting the Titans. And I know I took a strong stance against the Bears in our lead up to this, and I was ready to pick the Titans to win this game. But, Tony, you literally talked me into switching to the Bears over the course of the last month. So how can I pick the Titans? I can't. I just can't bring myself to do it. I'm picking the Bears.
I'm picking the Bears too. At home, I think that there's a lot of juice here. The one thing that worries me a little bit is the hype and the expectation and everything that is in the building, and the fact that the Titans are almost playing with house money. Most people have the Titans winning 4 games this year, but they have a lot of talent on that team. A good coaching staff. They've done a good job of assembling a team that I think is really going to fight and compete. I'm a little bummed I went so low on their win total. I wish I would have had them up closer to 500. But I'm still going to go with the Bears at week one, capturing and capitalizing more so on the juice that I believe will be in the stadium. Bears fans are going to show up, and they are going to be extremely pumped for this game. I think the thing for the Bears that I'm probably most interested to watch is what does the run game look like?
Yeah.
How much is there? Because we all love Khalil Herbert on this show. Think that he's criminally undervalued, underused, and I cannot wait and hope to see what team he ends up on, as long as it isn't in the AFC West, if it's not the Chargers. And then you got Roshan Johnson, who they invested a pick in. Velus Jones had like a little bit of a breakout there. DeAndre Swift got a big offseason deal. So I think that's kind of interesting there. And I think there's a real opportunity for a Rome Odunze big week one down the field, go up and get it. Like, this kid's the real deal playing week one.
Bears. I'm with you, Tony, and I think that's something that they really got to focus on early on in this game. You don't need to show off, man. So let's get this run game going. Let's establish that. The Tennessee Titans have a scary front. You need to back them down early in this game. If you start to just tell Caleb to try and run away from these guys, it's not going to go well. Joe, what do you think about this one?
There's been a lot of great teams in history, and we're going to remember some of these great teams for years to come. And the 2024 preseason Bears are going to be one of those teams that we'll be talking about for a long time, Tony. Talking about how great they were and what we saw from them, and then the regular season hit. I'm on the board for the Bears, and I like what the Bears have. Like, the weapons, like, you can't deny it, and you got to hope that they can put it together. Their defense looked good. The question mark I have with the Tennessee Titans is, can their defense hold up, and is their defense have enough depth to go along with this team? And that's kind of what you're looking at. I mean, but Tony, how are you going to go against your own boy, like your favorite football player, Sebastian Joseph Day over there? Like, you don't think he's going to make an impact in this game for you, for the Tennessee Titans? Like, come on, Tony.
But if we're being honest, though, I think this game is actually really close. Like, whether Hopkins plays or not, like, this team is this. They got players on that side of the ball. Mm-hmm. Offensively, they're there. Defensively, they've got good players. Like, Will Levis, we don't know, like, is he more like the 4-touchdown game, or is he like, some of the other games where he kind of struggled? I thought I saw enough last year where I would be happy if I was a Titans fan saying, like, we got a dude at quarterback. Like, maybe not early on in this season, but as it progresses, I think that we all look at Will Levis and we're like, dude, Titans got their guy.
Mayo man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. I think he did enough last year to give you a little bit of confidence too. But I don't want to, but I am taking the Bears week one. So I am taking the Bears week one.
There we go.
Even though I feel like this is one that I'm like,
I'll tell you this much: I'm taking the +4 the Titans are getting. I got a 27-24, 27-23 game. They're getting 4.5. I'll take it.
Bears, and y'all can take this Bears t-shirt home. Heard this one's a fan favorite from the little bit of polling that we've done. If you guys want to check it out, or if you guys know any Bears fans in the corner, just screenshot it and scan it. Let's go on to the next one here. The one the whole chat is tuned in to hear us talk about. And we're running out of time on the show, so we're not going to go too much into it here. But we're all going to disagree on who's going to win this Raiders versus Chargers game. But who should go first? I think that we should go first, Tony, since we're kind of ganging up on him. We got him in the middle of us. We can just kind of like swing as much as we want. But I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think they're going to establish the run game on this defensive line early and kind of like put some doubt in the Raiders defense immediately, because that's obviously the team's strength. That's the team that's the part that they're going to rely on, is this pass rush being able to be let loose on Herbert in the second half. The Chargers have to mitigate that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think the Chargers have some surprises for this Raiders offense in store, and it's gonna create some turnovers. We've seen the Chargers get to the quarterback a lot against the Raiders over the last couple of years, led in a lot of sacks. Derek Carr known to eat the ball. Aiden O'Connell ate the ball. I think Gardner Minshew is going to let the ball go, and I think it's going to turn into some turnovers for the Bulls. But go ahead, Tony. Give your outlook on this game, and we'll let Joe just complain about our take.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if Minter is as aggressive in the preseason as he was, right? Because one thing he didn't have in the preseason was he didn't have Bosa and Mack and Derwin out there. Like, do you need to be sending that blitz heavy? Like, is that really how he's going to play? If that is the case, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think that the defense could get a lot of turnovers in this game. I do think that there is a little bit of questions for the Chargers in the middle of the defensive line, and can they get Zamir White going, right? Like, that's my one concern defensively there. But then I really also like our linebackers. So, like, how does that portion of it shake out? I would say that the run game for me is something that I'm really wanting to see improved, right? And against the D-line that I think has good players on it, can they come out and can they carry the ball for 4.5 yards, like an attempt, average that in this game against a D-line that I think is going to be pretty good? Ultimately, I am going to go 26-17 Chargers in this game. Big victory.
You don't want my score prediction. You don't want my score prediction. Joe, what do you think?
No, we do. Go ahead and throw it out there, because last time I was going to a Charger-Raider game, you said something like Chargers 50, Raiders 10 or something.
Okay, but I was being facetious, all right? I was joking. Easton Stick. He was starting the game. We were in the road on the way there, and you're just like, Mike, say something stupid. And I was like, Joe, here's something stupid. I'm being dead serious about this prediction. I truly believe that the Chargers are going to win 35-14.
Mike, if I wanted you to say something stupid, I wouldn't have to say Mike say something stupid. I'd just say Mike talk.
Joe, I will have another Joe on this show. I will make one call, and we will have a different Joe. I'll not just replace you. I'll replace you with someone with the same name, and we won't even act like it's someone different.
What do you want? You can't get this face from anybody else.
Mike, we got to
give your analysis, man. I want to know from a Raiders fan that can actually give a take. What your take is from your perspective on facing the Chargers.
So I had Raider fans get upset with me because I made a preview about this game, and I said there's not a big difference in what Antonio Pierce wants to do in this game and what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. Both of them want to establish the run. They both want to run the ball and be on the field, and they both want their defense to make big stops. But the question mark is both defenses have trouble stopping the fucking run. And that's the funny thing is, like, we could talk about how much addition and how good this Raider defense is supposed to be, but that run defense is not there. And now today with the news coming out about Malcolm Kuntz probably not playing this weekend, it makes me question the defensive line even more. Now I'm wondering if the Raiders should have put Wilkins on the other side of Max Crosby instead of putting them both together, because now you just run away from them. But I want to see. I think both defenses are really good, and I would say, like, can you guys stick both tight ends? But I really like Denzel Perryman. Like, it's hard for me to talk shit about Denzel Perryman, a linebacker like that is just a hard-nosed guy that is very good at sticking tight ends too. So I think when it comes down to it, like, I have this in my head, I have it as a low-scoring game, and in low scoring nowadays in the NFL, it's under 20 points for both teams. So that's what I'm thinking. I think the spread the total points is 44 in this game. I have it right below that. I think I have the Raiders, like, I think I said it was like 19. Like, I don't know why I put 19, because it's hard to put 19, but I put 19, 6 or 17 or something like that. Or I put a close score, but it all depends on who can get the running game going, I think, in this game, and whose defense is not on the field the longest. And I know that's cliche bullshit that everybody will say, but I think that's right, because the Raiders have had an issue in the past where their offense goes three and out, and their defense is on the field for 30 plus minutes in a game, where we can't see that. You can't succeed as a team with your defense on the field for more than half the game. So I just think we're going to see two running games, or two teams trying to establish the running game the whole damn game. And it might be a quick game, because you know how those running games, like when you see teams that are just running all day, it's like, damn, we're at halftime already. How the hell did that happen? So I think it's going to be a very close game, but I think both teams want to establish the same thing. But come on, Charger fans, like, you really think that your defensive backs can hang with these guys that the Raiders are going to throw out there? Like, you think Asante Samuel and Fulton are ready for Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, DJ Turner, Trey Tucker? You think they're ready for that? Brock Bowers probably going to be on the field. Michael Mayer.
Yeah, I think they are ready for that. And I think that they don't need to necessarily be super ready for that. I think that they just need to be ready to hold on for 3 to 4 seconds. That's all they got to do, because this pass rush is coming for Minshew, and they're going to bully this little ass boy, as someone once coined him.
I forgot about it. We should get that clip. I'm going to get that as a soundbite.
Yeah, put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking of t-shirts, y'all, Corner right here. We got the Al Davis, the Icon t-shirt. You guys can grab that one. We also have a nice, cool Crosby Condor t-shirt. That comes with just the character. If you guys just want the character on the shirt instead, not the whole design, go check those out, Raiders fans. We're trying to give you guys something too. Joe Morley was mad that I kept putting like Jamarcus Russell and Darius Hayward-Bay and these guys on his shirts. So I finally gave in and did the Al Davis and the Max Crosby one and took it seriously for a couple minutes. We also have Chargers. The Har Bolt is here to drive us towards the Super Bowl. That's what that design is inspired by. That's what's happening, Joe, by the way, no matter what you think. And the Thorbert, which is my personal favorite design on the entire site right now.
That's what I'll be wearing on Sunday at SoFi Stadium. There it is, the son of Odin, the god of thunder and lightning. Herbert.
Two-of-a-kind shirt.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody, Joe. Nobody. But anything else before I move on from this game?
No, let's go.
All right.
Hey.
All right. So you guys gave your survivor pool wee woo whatever light lock of the pick, Tony, or lock of the week. Tony, you gave your fortune cookie prediction lock of the week. This is my Mike's on drugs upset of the week.
Sponsored by Rolling Papers, or what is it?
Yeah, exactly. Sponsored by this brand that I'm not going to shout out for free, but this is my Mike on the weed upset of the week. I just don't believe in the Bills, man. The Bills are super young. I think they had a ton of turnover. I think especially early on in the season, if they're going to get caught sleeping, it's going to be against a team who's kind of coming in here with a whole new life, a whole new outlook on life. I think the Cardinals defense is still going to stink. The Bills are going to score points, but Marvin Harrison, week 1, goes nuts on this Bills secondary, goes nuts on Kyer Elam specifically, and whoever else is in coverage on him. I'm taking the Cardinals as my on drugs upset of the week.
I'm going with the Buffalo Bills at home.
Dang
the Mafia shows up, represents in this game. Defensively, McDermott is a good coach. He just always has the guys in the right position making plays. And it's always like, well, we don't know the names of these players. We didn't know the names of the players before he made some of these other guys, like you constantly playoff performing, outstanding football players. And I think the same thing's going to happen this year with a lot of the young guys on this team. The player that I think has his breakout day for the Bills is Khalil Shakir. I think he becomes that name that a lot of the big shows on TV are talking about on Monday. For the Cardinals side, the interesting thing for me is is the defense play more connected than it did last year? Because they play with a lot of heart, but if they actually play better fundamental football, because of Gannon's leadership, the Cardinals are going to be an interesting team because the offense, I believe, is one of probably the most underrated offenses in the league. When we talk about really good offenses, I think this is one we'll be talking about at the end because Kyler's that guy. But I'm going to take the Bills at home in a close win here.
Joe, fade the Cardinals?
As I took my hat off, I noticed that my hair is a fucking mess, right? And it reminded me of the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, so my hair is just like the Cardinals. It's a mess. I've talked about how the Cardinals have a very tough schedule, a very tough opening schedule, and I think Mike, you said you even have them going 2-6 over the first 8 games. This right here, everybody is doubting the Buffalo Bills, but James Cook, this is going to be a James Cook game written all over it. The Arizona Cardinals were one of the, if not the worst team against the run last season, right? We should see a big game by this Buffalo Bills offense, putting up some points. And you could I know that this is what I talked about. People ask me about should they draft Arizona Cardinals, and I said, yeah, if you like garbage time points, this is where you're going to get them because the Cardinals are going to put most of the points up in the second half, and then we're going to be like, oh, they're not that bad. They're not that bad, but the Buffalo Bills win this game.
Yeah, I do have the Cardinals covering 6. I mean, they're getting 6.5 points. That's a lot. That's a touchdown right there, and I think the Cardinals.
Okay, so when you make a bet, I tell you, right? Because I would be telling you if I put the bets on the same thing that you do, right? What is it when I go against you?
What do you mean?
Like when you make a bet and I say I go the opposite of your bet, there's something. It's called something.
It's just
right?
fading, right? It's just fading.
Yeah, I'm fading Tony's pick or Tony's bet.
Okay. All
You're
right.
saying the
We'll
Bills
see
to
about
cover. You're saying Dow Bills to cover. I'm going with the Cardinals to win the game. I think that Josh Allen's gonna make a few mistakes early, and they're gonna get a lead, and it ends up close. But the Cardinals hold on. So let's see. And then let's go on here.
Where's the weed on this one, Mike?
What, the game of the week?
Like
Or
you need to get a whole like smoke effect and everything, and be like, I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals, and they're just like smoke all around you.
Yeah,
you should get a fog machine. Right now it's Halloween
or
season.
I could just like stop being self-conscious, and I could just cloud this whole room up before I do it. Like everyone, I need a break. You guys go ahead and talk for this one. I'm gonna go off screen.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna come back up.
Sit in the car and roll down the window, and it just comes out. And it's like,
oh, I would come home and absolutely kill me. She has a nose like a freaking hound dog. She could smell that shit from a mile away. But anyways, I have this as my game of the week because I do the non-primetime game of each week. The Chargers game was a candidate for this, but then I predict the Chargers to blow out the Raiders. So that disqualified that game, which leads me to here with the Colts and the Texans. And I think that this could be the birth of a rivalry or the birth of major disappointment for us people who love Anthony Richardson and his style of play. I want to see him succeed in the NFL because the Texans could just wipe the floor with him if he plays and makes mistakes like he did in the preseason. I'm going with the Texans. I do think it's going to be a close game. I'm going with the team that has kind of proven what they can be before all the additions that they've added to the offense and to the defense this offseason over kind of a mystery of what the Colts can be with Anthony Richardson. But I do think this could be an amazing, stellar game to watch if Anthony Richardson comes out and balls out because the Colts have the roster to keep up with Houston. But I'll let you go first in this one, Joe. Texans, Colts, I assume the Texans are favorites in this.
Yeah, I would think they are too. And Josh Downs is out this game as well, not playing in there if you guys care about that. Something, I don't know. I'm not an Anthony Richardson. I think we got to see more out of him than just what we saw last year. We got to make sure he's not taking those big hits like he was last year. Feed Jonathan Taylor, right? And don't get cute like sometimes. But I'm taking the Houston Texans. I believe in their defense. I believe in D'Amico Ryans. And I think the offense has a lot of weapons that the Colts it's going to be too much for the Colts week 1.
Texans, Tony?
I just realized that you have these like flipped some of them because this is a home game for the Colts.
Awkward. That gives me some more hope on the Colts.
Yeah, well, because you also have it with the Lions and Rams too. So I think it may just be these games.
Yeah, I see that. I knew that one on my off top head. I didn't know that the Colts were at home.
Yeah, Colts are at home. I think that this is a field goal game. I think this is a CJ Stroud, final drive moment. Game's tied, goes down, gets him a field goal. Kaimi Fairbairn ends the game. The one thing that I want to really hope to see from Anthony Richardson is smart plays. Like just use your legs. Don't abandon this amazing ability you have, but don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't leave the game injured in week 1 in a divisional game like this. I think Shane Steichen is kind of approaching, in my mind, that where he can start to be on the level of some of the smarter offensive coaches in the league. And I think that has a chance to be on display. With that being said, there's also the opportunity where the Texans defense has Monday morning. The thing is, like, they've taken a leap as an elite defense in the league, right? Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson pass rushing. They got new linebackers in there. Stingley's got another year in the league. I think they brought in Jeff Okudah, who's like DB3 on the team or whatever. Safety's taking a jump. So, like, it's going to be interesting to see what the storyline is leaving this game. I'm going to take the Texans, though, and, like a 27-24 type football game.
Close one. I think it's going to be a close one, too. I'm going Texans. I think I said that in the beginning. So all three of us are with the Texans, y'all. If you're keeping track, let us know who you got in the comment section for Mike's game of the week. On to Sunday Night Football. And, man, thank you, NFL schedule makers. We'll take this for the first Sunday Night Football game. Hell, freaking yes. There's going to be some fireworks in this one. I think this one's interesting too with the Lions are hosting, by the way, guys. The Rams are not at home. These two teams played each other very closely in the playoffs last year, and they're almost returning with very similar teams. The Lions have added some. The Rams have added some more. But we got similar teams coming back. It's going to come down to these offenses and how crazy can this get. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. Bet the over no matter what the freaking number is. I'm going with the Rams to win a shootout here and to get a little bit of revenge to open the season on the Lions, not taken away from the Lions. I think these are two of the best teams in the NFC. I think these are my two favorites in the NFC right now. If I had to pick maybe an NFC title game, I'm going with the Rams to get revenge. Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, they put their heads together, they watch the tape, and they go after this Lions defense in this first week, which the Lions, I think, want to be very improved this year. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll let you go first here, Tony.
I'm gonna take the Lions at home. I really would like to pick an upset in week 1, but I just think that in week 1 with a fully healthy offensive line, whether Gibbs is healthy or not, I think that Montgomery can, really sort of carry the bulk of the work there. So you got all these young guys on the defensive line. Like, how does that work out where you're, hey, welcome to the NFL. Here comes Penei Sewell pulling from right tackle and just running through your face.
Yeah.
I think that that's a lot to deal with on the road. We saw how crazy the stadium got last year in that playoff game. I think it's a similar outcome where the game really is close. But I have to pick the game because that's what the point of the show is. I'm going to go with the Lions at home. One of the things for the Lions side is defensive. Like, are these improvements showing up there? Is the addition of Terrion Arnold in there? I didn't check to see, is DJ Reader playing in this game? Like Aleem McNeil has apparently had some sort of body transformation. Can he get pressure on the inside? And then Blake Corum back in Michigan, back in the state of Michigan. I want to see him get the ball 10 to 12 times and put up some numbers in fantasy, put up some numbers in this game.
So you're going Lions, Tony, also on a thrilling one. Joe, does it get any better than this for Sunday Night Football other than, your team maybe versus the Broncos who they beat every time? And I don't know, like, could you, orchestrate a better Sunday Night Football week 1 game here?
Now, I would love to see the graphic the way you had it. I would love to see the Chargers and the Raiders play at SoFi, and then all of a sudden they turn around and play a doubleheader at SoFi Stadium.
That'd be crazy.
That would be cool, right? Like a doubleheader football game.
Yeah.
I'd stay. But the Rams defensive line, Tony just put the Aaron Donald T-shirt up there. Where if you guys check that one out, I think that's an awesome T-shirt. I'm not a Rams fan or anything, but I think just that shirt with the scoreboard of SoFi Stadium is amazing. And if you're a Rams fan, that is a great must-have shirt right there. You guys check that out. But the Rams defensive line is young, and I think they're hungry, and I think they're a very, very good defensive line. And you already know what Sean McVay is about. I'm going with the Detroit Lions in this game, just because they're at home. They're going to be pumped up for Sunday night, and you already know that guy right there on that T-shirt, Dan Campbell's going to pump, going to have them ready to come out here. The Rams still have a little bit more question marks than I think of the Detroit Lions. Like, if I'm putting them here, like in rankings, I'm going to put the Detroit Lions ahead of the Rams, and that's part of the reason I'm thinking them. I think Jared Goff has a great game. I think Jared Goff is able to find his weapons and take them down the field. And now, are anybody worried about Laporta? I'm not, but could he have that sophomore slump at tight end? I don't think so, but some people might have questions right there. But I think the Lions offense moves up and down the field with ease. Not with ease, because I just think that the young defense of the Rams are going to get a little bit outcoached.
Okay, so you guys are both going against me on that one too. This could go really bad for me. I'm just pointing it out, because now we're going to move on to the Monday night game, and it's not like I'm getting any agreements from you two on this one. I'm going with the Jets. I've talked about it to death. I've made individual videos. If you guys want my take on this to save time, go and look for it, because we're already at an hour and a half. It's supposed to be an hour and 15-minute show. But go ahead and tell me why you guys are going to pick the 49ers to win this game. There's probably obvious reasons to point out, but you guys are both 49ers haters for the record that have no spines and want to go against the Niners in this game.
Well, Mike, the Niners have all the Avengers, all the talent in the world. They work things out with Ayuk. They got Trent Williams back in there. Debo's healthy. Kittle's healthy. Game planning. I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets right here. Week 1.
Don't start
Don't start this. There is too much chaos in week 1 that's going on with the 49ers, the offseason that's there. I think that the defense is going to be able to make a difference for the Jets side of the football. And I think that this is a big Breece Hall week 1, couple of explosive plays, not only in the run game, but in the pass game, where he's going to have an opportunity to test things. The 49ers are figuring things out, getting people back in shape in the game, and being able to put enough pressure with the defensive line for the Jets to sneak out a close victory in week 1 on the road and really get the Jets hype train going.
Tony, I completely agree with you. Everything you just said, 100%. Go ahead, Joe.
That's why I'm right.
See, this is what you guys are. This is the San Francisco 49ers that we're talking about. It came out yesterday that CMC has Achilles injury and along with the calf injury. But you think that's going to stop the 49ers from putting the best players on the field? And the New York Jets, are we going to go out here and overrate the Jets and go on Aaron Rodgers just because he's coming back from an injury? The same questions that you have about Kirk Cousins, you should be having about Aaron Rodgers.
I picked Kirk Cousins.
Breece Hall should have a good game. And that defense of the Niners, are they going to be back? And I talked about how teams shouldn't fear the Niners this year, right? Because of what we saw from other teams like the Detroit Lions last year and the other teams that hung with them. The Niners, I think, lost their fear factor against other teams this year. But the Niners still have great players to put out there. And it's Monday night in San Francisco, and you don't think that team is going to be hyped up and ready to go, even though it just came out that ownership is worried about Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and what they do this year. They want Super Bowl or bust. So this team is hungry, and they're going to come out here not ready to lose, and they're going to lose to the New York Jets right here.
We both picked the Jets. Mike is beside himself. The Jets are getting 6.5 in this game. It's one of the bets that I'm more comfortable with too.
It's just crazy. I'm not even going to go over it. I'm not even going to get too excited or get too loud because I'm not surprised at all. I expect you guys to do this
here. So I don't
yeah. Well, I mean, you guys just trash them every time we bring them up. That's all. And talk about how bad they are and how their O-line has no depth and how their secondary, or not their secondary, their defensive line's overrated was what Joe told me last week or something. And now they're going to beat the Niners, the defending NFC champions, with Aaron Rodgers coming off an injury. It's just like I could just replay the whole offseason of Jets takes, and just none of it lines up with what either of you just freaking said right now. But I'm not going to. You know why? Because I'm literally arguing a never-winning battle because I'm arguing the fact that you're now agreeing with me. So I'm just going to say I agree with you guys. So the Jets are going to win. Jets are going to win. I completely agree.
I'll be there to see it. That comes out of this game. The worst fucking thing that comes out of this game is Tuesday morning and listening to every fucking person jack off the Jets. Like, that is going to be the worst thing to hear, is how much they love the Jets and how the Jets are going to the Super Bowl because they beat the San Francisco 49ers. And, oh, my, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, that's part of the reason I want the Jets to lose. It's just because the national media is so in love with Aaron Rodgers and that damn team. It's ridiculous. Just because you beat the Niners week 1 doesn't make you a fucking good team.
And here's the thing, Mike. You're asking me to tell you what I think is going to happen over a 4-month period, and this is about what I think is going to happen over a 1-week period. There's a major difference between those two things. And if you can't see that, I can't help you.
Obviously I can see that, but when you gave your predictions for the Jets 2 weeks ago, right? And you said they're going to go 9-8. You had them lose or winning this first game.
Yes. I don't know what I had them winning the first game of the season.
Because if you had them losing this game when you did that prediction, now you just flipped it and you just gave them 10 wins, which is the same as me almost.
I picked 272 games. You think I picked all of them correctly? So we were going to go? No.
I'm just saying, like.
Mike had changed his mind like 4 times today, and then you do it one time, Tony, or you make one questionable thing. He's like, you can't change your mind.
It's like if I changed my mind and was like all of a sudden a Drew Lock believer, or if I changed my mind, I was like all of a sudden, yeah, the Giants are going to be great this year. That's what it's like.
That is
you guys just sit here all offseason and talk about how bad this team is, but also predict them to beat the NFC champs and go to the playoffs. But we can do this all day, and we will do this all season, y'all. So I'll be rocking that Jets gear in the corner if you guys want to get some Jets gear and join me on the bandwagon, and the rest of the media. TikTok boy, the national media, and the Jets are flying to that Lombardi because I do need to change my Super Bowl pick already.
Okay, all right, Mister. What are you changing? And you can't find one take of me saying that this Jets team is going to be bad. That's all.
You have is all Tony's off the camera talk. And you can't use that against them because
Tony, you believe in the depth of the Jets O-line. You believe in the depth of the Jets O-line to get 9 or 10 wins.
One of the things that I said when we talked about the Jets was that I was pleasantly surprised with how Olu Fashanu played and that he was able to go either side on the tackle, which I thought was a plus for them. My major concern is Aaron Rodgers still have the mobility to be able to get out of the pocket and make those great plays that he's made in the past. That's the one concern I have. And I have them in a tough division winning 9 games this year.
But you have confidence in him to be mobile enough in this game against maybe the best defensive line in the league.
When we talked about the players over 30, I said it's egregious that Aaron Rodgers wasn't higher because he still can be top 10, ceiling top 5 quarterback. And you were like, yeah, I agree. Why do you have the Jets so low? And I was like, because I don't believe on it. I don't believe it that it can actually maintain that way for 4 months.
But for this game, yes, we're in.
For this game, yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. At least we're in for this game, Tony. We went way over our time, guys. Thank you guys for tuning into this. Again,
I don't know what that means.
Quick Super Bowl pick, just so it's on the record.
I forgot about Super Bowl pick. Mine was the Ravens, so I'm just going to stick with that, and then next week I'm going to change it. So
I'm going to wear Chiefs gear and today and go with the Ravens.
Well, I can't pick the Chiefs. The Ravens are out. I'm basically admitting defeat already because that offensive line thing was bad. And I'm also trying to do a little bit of reverse psychology here. Like if I just go, you know what, fuck the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. So maybe I can try and get some gears turning in that direction for me.
My Super Bowl pick, I have also changed mine, but my team hasn't played a game. It's just because I want to have something different than the popular pick of the Detroit Lions. I'll be pumped if the Lions are in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to go Rams versus the Buffalo Bills. Everybody is leaving the Buffalo Bills like they got horrible this offseason. I don't see it happening. Still winning.
I have them going 9-8. I have the same outlook on them as you do the Jets.
There you go. One of us will be right. One of us will be wrong, or if both of us are wrong, then 2 is in the Super Bowl. Congratulations.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Anyways,
when I made my predictions and I went through and I did the whole schedule and I did all that stuff, there was 2 teams that I had going to the Super Bowl. And then yesterday when I made the video, I changed it. I had the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions in my video. That was the Super Bowl prediction. But what I have written down in front of me of what I made about a month ago is I still have the Baltimore Ravens, but I have them playing the Philadelphia Eagles.
I like that take.
That was my matchup. So those are the 2 that I have. But I don't know. I'm like you, Mike. I'm questioning the Baltimore Ravens, but it's fucking week 1, and we love overreaction week 1.
Oh yeah, I love the overreaction week 1 too, Joe. I can't wait for after week 1, and we could stop talking about any other seasons that have ever happened in the history of the National Football League, and we just talk about one game until the next one because that's the way it goes.
Now, Raider Aaron is if that happens, if Raiders Chargers AFC Championship is
we're going. We're going.
Yeah.
That
Just
would
like
be-
when people say that Raider 49ers Super Bowl or a Raider Cowboy Super Bowl, those are like always the dreams that I would love to have.
That would be nuts.
that'd
That would be
wild.
absolutely nuts. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Comment your Super Bowl picks. Comment your thoughts on any of our picks on here. Check out fitdown.shop. The QR codes are on the screen. I will try to remember to put it in the description also. If you want to submit your picks and compete against us, there's some prizes. You guys can go and watch my Pick'ems challenge video on any NFLMike platform. But the link is in the description if you just want to submit your picks right now. There's the code. This is going to be a limited time. It's only going to be open for like 2 weeks. We're giving out a discount to those who get the gear first, rock the gear first. Go follow my friend Joe Morley on all platforms. Don't talk to Tony. Tony does not want to talk to you. Anything else, Tony, though, before I let everyone go?
Nope. Follow the Fifth Down social. You got to start doing that.
Joe?
All three of us will be at SoFi Stadium on Sunday. If you see us, don't be afraid to say what's up. I know Mike and I have talked about this a lot where people are like, oh, I saw you at the game, but I didn't want to say hi. I have no problem with that. Come up and say what's up and get one of these cards from me or Tony or Mike. We're going to have these cards, which gives you the QR code and it gives you the promo code that we have on the screen as well. So you guys can start getting your Fifth Down gear and be along with us and check out the shirts in person because I think all three of us should have one on, right?
Yes,
we will.
What's up? Look at Raider Aaron's going to be there. Raider Aaron, we'll see you there, buddy. Please don't punch me. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great week.